how to clean your braking system properly, which is a huge thing for vehicles these days. You really need to make sure that you take care of your braking system so you don't get that grinding, squealing, squeaking noises when you actually hit the brake. And the first place I'm going to start is by cleaning the wheel hub. So I'm going to get all the old anti-seize actually off this wheel hub. Some vehicles won't have the anti-seize on the wheel hub, but this one does. I'm just going to clean that all off, and I'm going to clean the brake shield as well, just from any rust or brake dust deposits. And most brakes are squealing or grinding or squeaking because you have contaminants between your actual brake pads and the rotors. So I'm going to go ahead and take the caliper mounting bracket out of the cylinder body now. And the mounting bracket actually holds the brakes, the two brake pads there. And before we get to work here on the brake pads, cleaning the actual pads and the mounting bracket, we want to clean the table that we're going to work on. So I just hit it with a little bit of brake cleaner and just give it a little wipe down. We don't want any contaminants in what we're going to be working in. So again, here we're working with the caliper mounting bracket and the two brakes. And what I'm going to do is separate the brake pads from the actual clips. So the pad clips, going to get the brake pads out of there. And you can see little scratches on the brake pads, and what that is actually debris that has got between the brake pad and the rotor. And you'll see the same kind of scratches on the rotor as well. It means the brake pads aren't making full contact with the rotor, and there is some kind of debris in the braking system. So first things first is let's actually just clean off this mounting bracket here. And there's going to be people wondering why I don't hit it with a metal brush, but sometimes those leave indentations, so sometimes a cloth is best for some circumstances. So I'm actually going to start taking out the pad clips here, and these need to be absolutely just hammered with brake fluid as well. Just going to clean all that up. I believe this is chlorinated brake cleaner. So all four little brake clips are going to come out, little pad clips are going to come out, and they're all just going to get absolutely drenched in brake cleaner, and I'm going to individually clean them with a cloth because I don't want to create any scratches on the pad clip surfaces or the caliper mounting bracket surfaces. Next test here is, do the actual guide pins work? And yes, they do. They slide in and out very, very nicely, and you can tell that they're still lubricated within the actual little rubber boot there, so I'm not going to go in there and touch that. If they were corroded at all, I would take them out, I'd clean them with brake cleaner, and then I would put some ceramic brake lubricant on those and assemble them back in. Time to clean the workspace here and get on to the next part, and that is cleaning the actual brake pads. So I'm going to hit them here with the brake cleaner, and then I'm going to go ahead with the metal brush very lightly and get all that crappy gunk buildup that is actually causing the brakes to not seat correctly between the actual caliper mounts. And for anything actually on the brake surface, I'm going to hit with a towel, a little towelette here. Make sure that I clean any residue off of that, or hit it with a little bit of a screwdriver, making sure not to scratch anything, but again, getting that built up gunk and just hitting it with the brake cleaner where I need to. Okay, looking pretty snazzy dazzy. I'm gonna get some about 200 grit sandpaper here, and I'm just gonna sand in circular motions to actually just smooth out that brake surface. Like I said, there was some debris between the actual brake pad and the rotor, so what that does is actually scratches little indents into the brake pad. I just want to sand that out just enough so that the brake sits evenly against the brand new rotor. Now it's time to go to the vehicle and actually clean the piston and piston seal. Now I'm going to be very careful. I don't want to puncture the piston seal because it's rubber. It's a rubber kind of surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep hitting it with brake fluid and a cloth, and then just get as much contaminant and gunk out of there as I possibly can. This is something I like to do. I like to put a little bit of anti-seize, a very thin layer of anti-seize on the hub before I put the rotor on, and that's just so the actual rotor does not stick to the hub. This is optional. Now, whether you need new rotors or not, that's up to you. You have to take a look at the rotor, see if there's pitting, see if there's scratching. You have to take a measurement to see how much of the rotor's actually left. Do you need a remachine? Do you need a new rotor? I decided to get brand new rotors for this truck, and they actually have a coating on them, and that's because the rear of pickup trucks actually pick up a lot of debris in the disc brakes, and they will rust very quickly. So I want to get a coated brand new rotor on the back of this, and just have a fresh, clean slate to start on when I put those new clean brake components on. Okay, so back over to the cylinder body, we have the actual brake piston extended here. So I'm just going to get my piston ratchet that I got off Amazon here, and this ratchet is amazing actually. It just goes in flush. It is so much easier than trying to use like a clamp and a piece of wood or whatever, and you just absolutely just ratchet that piston back in until you start feeling resistance, and boom, you're done. Get the ratchet out of there, and the piston is set back flush with the cylinder. And the part I hate the most is attaching the mounting bracket back actually to the vehicle. So here I am just fiddling with this for a while. I made sure I hand tighten those bolts first that you didn't see here, and then I hit it with the ratchet once I feel that the bolts are not actually cross-threading, and get that tightened on there nicely. And of course I put a piece of shop towel here to make sure that I'm not scratching those brand new rotors as I'm doing this and fiddling around. So get that shop towel out of there, and the mounting bracket's on. So what I want to do now is get some ceramic brake lubricant and actually put it in the pad clips. And what this will do is let the pads slide back and forth like they're supposed to when you actually apply the brake or depress the brake. So what it's going to do is actually reduce the friction between the actual pads and the pad clips, and let them move a little bit more freely when the piston comes in and the actual guide pins come back in and out. And of course we're going to probably want to install the brake pads, so we're going to finally get those brake pads in between those pad clips and make sure they sit nice and flush. Okay, so bear with me here, we're almost done. We just want to get the actual cylinder body right over those brake pads and make sure that those bolts are nice and tight right onto the brake caliper. So tighten that up. I want to make sure that, again, that my brake caliper mount is actually tightened to the vehicle nice and tight as well, and then we're good to go. Now let's get that tire right back on there. So I'm just going to lift the tire back up and put that right on the rotor on top of the hub, and just start the old star pattern. I'm going to go really easy with the impact gun here. So the impact gun is actually just on a setting where if it notices any resistance at all, the impact gun will actually stop. So it will not cross thread these. So for anybody freaking out because you're putting nuts on a vehicle wheel with an impact gun without hand tightening them first, well, the impact gun basically is hand tightening them. Like if you notice any resistance, like I said, if it's not going on correctly, the gun will just basically stop. And then once that's done, I'm going to actually turn the gun into impact mode and just drive those home and get those nuts correctly secured on the tire. And then even after that, I'm going to go back with a torque wrench by hand and make